We have a nice country with lots of possibilities. I started, hunting when I was 11 years old. Called lions with this one. Killing is what it's about. The way of nature. Then you actually have a strong population of lynx. Two klausies, Šauj, garām.
Aicinām medībās. Sarunas par un ap medībām kopā ar Lindu Dombrovsku un Oskaru Trēliku. Šauj, garām.
How is the pandemic for you? You're just sitting in your forest enjoying life, or?
Yeah. I mean, to me personally, it's not so different from how I normally, live. So, travel is a bit more restricted. So obviously I would have been doing more traveling, for hunting different places if it wasn't for it. But I've still been able to do some travel, so, and then still, in Norway, we have a nice country with lots of possibilities for hunting. So yeah, it's not a big deal for me personally, actually. But I mean, obviously for all of Europe and Norway and a lot of businesses, it's really bad. But yeah.
Sorry, I would like to give you a small introduction to you so you understand who you're talking to. I'm Linda.
Oskar, yeah.
I'm the editor-in-chief of 2 hunting magazines in Latvia and Lithuania. The secret is I don't speak Lithuanian, but I make a magazine.
Okay, yeah.
So we've been doing the magazine since 2012. So, and then last year, 2019, yeah. I came up with an idea that we have to make a podcast.
Yeah.
And this has developed quite a lot.
But you do all the podcasts normally in your own language, eh? And not in English.
It's Latvian, yeah.
Yeah.
We have had a fan club. After a year, we have made already 67 episodes.
67 and 68 will become.
Yeah.
So it's a big pleasure and honor that you are actually agreed to make a podcast with us.
Yeah. No, but that's nice. I've seen and heard and held contact with both of you. I mean, from before, so we sort of know each other a little bit, anyways.
Yes.
So it's it's nice. Yeah.
Now we have prepared a few questions.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
What would you like to start with? The easy stuff or the tough stuff?
What do you mean, like the tough, like the difficult questions, or what? No, it doesn't matter.
No question.
Well,
okay, yeah.
When did you start to hunt? It's like
that was. Yeah, for myself, I mean, in Norway, you have to be sort of like 14 years or something to be able to hunt. So that's kind of when I started. So it's quite many years ago. That would be about 30 years ago. So and then obviously it was starting with small game and stuff. But I was lucky though, because when I was young, we lived in Africa. And there is sort of like no age limit or anything. So I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can still hunt. So I started, hunting and shooting my first animals in Africa when I was 11 years old. But I got my hunting exam in Norway when I was 14, and then and sort of after that. So that's when I started. Yeah.
Do you do anything else?
Not so much, actually. I would say I live a pretty narrow life. Yeah, hunting. It's sort of the only thing I think about and what I'm doing. So to many people, I would be super boring, and that's how I am. It's my priorities. Yeah, and I just do it because it's what I like the most. Yeah.
Do you have other hobbies?
Yeah, as you said, no, I wouldn't say not too many. Well, I do like, obviously filming and photography, but it's still part of my job. So that would also be both my hobby and my interest, and also my work. So yeah, so no, not so much except from that. Yeah.
So yeah, we have seen lots of videos with you. It's like internet is full of you, of course, if you are in the hunting world. My father watches you on a Russian hunting channel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's regular, and you usually speak Russian there because of the translation.
Yeah.
But do you have a message in your videos? Like, is there you want just to show the hunting process, or you try to bring a message to the whole wide world?
Yeah, no, I would say no. You know, I don't feel that that I have like a deep message I want to tell everyone or all the hunters or everything. To be honest, I just, you know, like the hunt. Obviously, I like to do hunting, and I also like to show hunting. And yeah, but I don't feel like I go very deep into the, you know, material of hunting, that I have like a deep message to tell people. I don't, you know. So I want to show hunting, how I do it, and obviously, I mean, all hunters, we want to do hunting in a proper way, and we want animals, you know, to suffer as little as possible and everything, but I won't say I have like a deep message to people, you know. Just I mean, obviously hunting is a very important part of our culture here in the north of Europe and Scandinavia, you know, and yeah, that would be sort of the message though.
Šauj garām, jaktei būt.
Everybody knows you are a hunting icon or something like that, yes? We know that. What about some green people, you know, some I know, green terrorists thinking of doing in Norway, so how you live together, or some, do you have some pressure from him or from them or something like that?
Yeah. No, yeah, you mean like the so-called the anti-hunters, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We
you get death threats.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say we are very lucky in Norway, because it's maybe I would think Norway would be the country in the Europe, you know, with the least opposition against hunting. That means hunting is very much accepted in our country and in our culture, and one reason for that is that hunting has sort of always been for everybody, you know, not only for the rich and wealthy people, but like all the farmers and everyone, you know, just went out to hunt to get food, you know, which is sort of like the main reason why we are hunting. And it's very much accepted in the population. I mean, obviously you have some what we call the green people or the anti-hunters who absolutely hate hunting and hunters. I mean, they are everywhere, but they are not a big problem in Norway at all. They are sort of more visible now than they were like 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, sort of, we didn't even know that they existed in our country. So they are a bit more visible, but I know only if you go to Sweden, it's much worse. You know, there are much more anti-hunters, and they are sort of like more organized, you know, and they are doing sabotage to the hunting towers, and they're actually causing a lot of trouble, but not in Norway. I would say we are very lucky. And I know, for example, in Poland, where I also do a lot of hunting, it's terrible. You know, it's much worse because hunters are so few compared to the number of people. And, you know, most people living in cities, they don't know nothing about hunting and hunting culture and what's going on. They just think it's very terrible to kill animal. And that's, you know, the main thing. And I mean, obviously, it is a brutal thing to kill an animal. I mean, there is no denying it's brutal if we do it, or if a wolf is killing a moose or whatever. Nature is brutal, but still, it's part of who we are. So yeah, it's but we are lucky in Norway, I would say. How is it in your country?
Well, I'm being demonized anyway, so I'm the biggest monster in Latvia, basically. But other than few people, there's like a bunch of them that are very loud. Apart from that, we have made surveys, and basically the majority of people, they don't care. They really don't care about hunting or whatever, except those two sides, the really anti-hunting, and you cannot change their mind. And then there are hunters, and then in between, there's the majority of people who really don't care. And that's why we also always try to be quite active on the social media, because if there's some anti-hunting saying something bad about hunter, we usually make a comment just so the people, when they read, they can have different opinions, and that's it.
And also I've also seen, and you probably have experienced, that if you are a woman in the hunting industry, you also get much more, you know, criticism than if you're a man, because obviously men are, you know, hunters, people know, but if it's a woman, and also if it's a young woman, they seem to get much more hate, you know, because, you know, it's like young women are not supposed to be hunting, but actually more and more young women, also in Norway, and I know in other countries, are actually interested in hunting. And the main reason for that is they are more interested in actually where do the food come from, and that they sort of want to get their own food. And obviously it's more healthy, it's ecological and everything. But for the anti-hunters, it seems that women that do hunting, it's the worst, you know, so they get so much criticism. I mean, everyone that know the hunting business or are interested, they would know that I'm hunting, so they are not surprised if I post like a video or some dead animal or something, you know, so they don't get shocked, you know, they know what's coming. But yeah, I see it's definitely a big challenge for the hunting culture, the anti-hunters, because they are obviously much more organized than we are, and yeah, there might be many more, and they know. Yeah,
you are right. And I want you to ask also about your attitude towards, like, you like to say, we have seen lots of videos with you hunting together with women.
Yeah.
So there are lots of stereotypes, even not only outside hunting community, but inside hunting community about women hunters, because I have to prove myself much more other than this guy on all the levels. So could you share your opinion about women being huntresses?
No, of course. Yeah, I've hunted with many women, young, you know, middle age, whatever. I've hunted with ladies that have never hunted, you know, like first time hunters and very experienced hunters. And some of the very best hunters I know, they would be girls, you know. Some of them, and one reason is that they are more careful than us guys, and I can also know that with myself, you know. So girls are, in general, I would say, they are more careful, they are more concerned that they don't want to wound an animal. So that means they take better time when they make a shot, you know. They want to be more careful, and obviously when they are first time hunters and not experienced, they listen to you. Obviously a boy, when he's starting to hunt, he thinks he's the best in the world from the beginning. It's the same when boys are starting to drive a car. We think we are, you know, the best drivers from the first day, and obviously we are not. So it's kind of a but I mean, in my opinion, I would say female hunters are, you know, good responsible hunters, and you know, they care about what they're doing. I mean, obviously there are different kind of people and different individuals anyways, but in general, obviously girls are good hunters, and they have the instinct, just the same like men do.
Nu ko, lādē iekšā.
My next question. What's your most favorite kind of hunt?
Oh yeah, there would be many, but I can say what one of them would be the hunting I've spent most time doing, and you know, that is you know, the bird capercaillie and black grouse, you know, those two. Yeah, they are, you know, known for us people in the north, you know, in Norway, Sweden and Finland and Russia. We have lots of those birds, and hunting them with the pointing dog is probably what I've been doing the most, you know, because I started when I was very young. I had pointing dogs for 21 years, and it was my big passion for many years. It was sort of almost all I could think of, and that was for a long time my favorite hunt, and one of the hunts I've spent most time doing. But obviously now I haven't had pointing dogs for at least 5 years, so I'm not doing that so much anymore, so now my favorite hunts would be obviously calling roebucks, calling foxes, hunting moose with dogs that we do here in Norway and Sweden, and hunting the red stags in the rutting time, when they're roaring. Those would be my favorite hunts at the moment, but for a long time it was hunting the capercaillie, and hunting those birds with a dog is quite difficult, because they are clever birds. They fly fast, and they live in the forest, so it's not like most of the time you don't shoot them in the open, and so it's a big challenge, and that's probably also why I liked it so much, because when you finally got some, it was really a good feeling. Yeah.
I hunted capercaillie in Sweden last year in January, just before they closed down.
Yeah,
amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
On the skis, without the dogs, but on the skis.
Yeah, and that's a totally different, hunt. And I also, like you said, it's fantastic. I love that hunting because everything is quiet. It's in the winter. You go on the skis, and nature is so nice and clean and beautiful. It's just the whole atmosphere. It's that's like a dream hunt, actually.
And then you see that black spot, and then it changes.
I know. It's such a nice feeling. Yeah.
So, by the way, what is your craziest hunting adventure?
It's many, but I remember one that was when I was younger. We were living in Africa, and I was hunting there with my cousin and 3 bushmen. So we were walking in the bush. We were actually following some elephant trails, where the elephants had been walking, because there you can walk pretty quiet. And we were not hunting elephants, but we were looking for kudus or impalas or something, and we were trying to get, down to a water hole, and everything was so quiet, not a bird singing, no nothing. And when we come down there, all of a sudden, like 15 meters away, 3 lions were lying there, and they were sleeping. So we stopped, and then the same time we stopped, the lions see us, and then we were too close, because obviously they didn't like, so it was 2 females and a male. So the one female, she came running towards us at full speed and making a lot of noise, growling and everything. And obviously she sort of stopped in the sand 5 meters away from us, and everything happened very fast, and they turn around and run, all of them. And those bushmen that we were hunting with, they were just laughing, and because they had obviously experienced this before. But me and my cousin, we were a bit more shaky, and but that was a pretty crazy experience. So on the way home from there, because then we realized there would be no kudus around this water hole, so we were walking further on, and 15 minutes later we saw a big elephant bull standing in the bushes. So I suggested we should walk around, so we didn't need to walk straight onto him. But those bushmen, they say, no, we can go straight. It's no problem. So we disappear a little bit into the bushes, and all of a sudden, this elephant is just standing straight in front of us, like 50 meters. And the same happened when he sees us. He didn't like to see us at all. So he came running straight for us. And, he was blowing his trunk and making sounds, and was all crazy. And then those bushmen, they didn't laugh, So all of us, we just ran in different direction and was running like crazy. And so actually in less than 15 minutes, we were charged by lions and chased by an elephant, on foot. So that was, and I was young. I was maybe like 17 years old, and I can never forget, that day. So that was kind of crazy, though, and something you'll never forget. But we all survived, and then those animals, they gave us a good scare. So it's kind of
That's absolutely crazy.
Do you get this elephant? Yes. Do you have?
What you say?
Do you got this elephant? Do you hunt them? No.
No. We don't hunt.
Don't hunt anything,
not hunting. Yeah.
By the way, about trophies, where is your trophies? We can't see anything.
Yeah. No, I have quite many, but honestly, last year in October, I was very unlucky. I lived in a nice house in the middle of the forest, and I was out hunting foxes at night. And then late in the evening, my neighbor called me, and my house was on fire. And honestly, the whole house burnt down with all the trophies and everything. So last October, obviously, I still had lots of trophies that was not in the house. I had, in the barn and everything, but all that was in the house burnt. But for me, trophies has never been very important for me. The hunting experience and being out there hunting is much more important. So I didn't even, obviously it's not fun when you lose everything you own. I mean, all the guns, all the trophies, everything else, was lost in the fire. But still, I was thinking from day one that I should be very happy for what I actually have, instead of crying for what you lost or what you don't have. I mean, it won't make you any good if I sat down and started crying because I lost all my trophies. The most important is that I've had those hunts, I've had a nice experience, and I mean, trophies are still just trophies. So they never been important to me, but I still have a few. I mean, even just last autumn after the house burnt down, I had lots. So yeah. It's I'm still doing fine. I have more than enough. Yeah.
So you can start from the beginning.
Yeah. It's no problem. I can still do that. Yeah.
Like for me, it's more like if I kill the animal, I have to take the trophy, not because I killed it because of the trophy, but because it's a like respect towards the animal. This lower one was found by my dog. I didn't shoot it. It had a blood track, so. The guy wanted to throw that thing out. I said, no, I'm taking it. My dog found it. I'm taking it. So it's on my wall now. Yeah.
No, but it's still fine. And it gives your life some meaning. And it's obviously a nice memory. So when you look at it, you can remember it and everything. So, I mean, people are different. I mean, I have some trophies. Obviously, I was sad for some of the trophies that I lost. And it's how it is. I mean, For me, the hunting is always the most important, more important than the trophies. Yeah.
That's the process.
Yeah.
Hunting dogs. What kind of hunting dogs do you have? What's your favorite breed, for example? Because in the videos, in the movies, we can see different types of dogs. I suppose they're your friends or... Yeah. For myself, I've had the pointing dogs, the Gordon setter. I don't know. Do you know that one? The black and brown setter. Yeah, those were the ones I had. Not because I think they were the best or whatever. It was sort of like accidentally how I got the first one. So it was never like a planned thing. And obviously, when I bought my first one, or actually got the first one, I liked it. So my second one was also a Gordon setter, and then I've had this Norwegian moose hound, the smaller one, not the Swedish Jämthound, but the Norwegian smaller one. So I've had one of those. Other than that, that's actually all the hunting dogs I've had for myself. So all the other ones, it's my friends or I borrow them.
Nu ko, pārlādējam.
Like for me, hunting dogs are really important because I have a belief that if you're a hunter and you do not have a hunting dog, you are half hunter. What's your attitude towards it?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, people are different. I've had hunting dogs, like pointing dogs for 21 years, and I've had my moose dog for 2 years. Right now, I don't have any dogs. I don't feel like I'm a half hunter at the moment, but for sure, hunting with dogs, it gives you more meaning. I mean, it's very interesting to have the cooperation between the dog and the hunter. And I mean, obviously, for finding wounded game, if you're unlucky to wound something, or obviously, it's also a great benefit to finding animals many times. But I mean, people are different. As you said, toppjakt, when you go hunting for the capercaillie in the winter on the skis, you wouldn't use dogs, but still it's a great hunt. Or as I do a lot, calling the animals, calling with the foxes or the roe deer or the red stags. Yeah, you don't use the dogs anyways, but I would say it's just different, but it doesn't make you half a hunter if you don't have dogs. Many people cannot have dogs, for some reasons.
I agree with you, actually.
He has an allergy.
100%.
He has
allergy,
and he's on pills now because my dogs are just behind us.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I know many people who are, and I mean, okay, maybe people have a family structure, or they have some work that won't allow them to have dogs, or they live in a small flat in a city, and it's absolutely not, for them to have a dog. Obviously, yeah. So people are different, and different priorities and different opportunities. It's just how it is. But yeah.
Well. Next question or next theme would be that you have inspired us to start not only to hunt animals by calling, but we actually started our hunting shop as well.
Yeah.
By the way, yes.
Yes,
as you know.
And Oskars has founded the Latvian Deer Stag Callers Club. I'm saying that they are not like just calling deer, they are making different really weird sounds. So the questions about the calls, you have the questions.
I have a lot of questions about the calls. So actually, we know your calls are one of the best in market. Actually, yes, to call the foxes. Maybe
that's your opinion. Yeah, but no, that's fine. That's
that's opinion of many hunters actually, and maybe you can tell us how you start to invent first call or something. Why you start to calling foxes and start to invent the first call?
Yeah. No, obviously calling animals is the same, like you said, with the dogs. It makes hunting more interesting, and also you're becoming an active hunter. I mean, you can go and sit in a high seat or a tower and just sit there like waiting for the animals, and being a passive hunter. Or you can choose to be an active hunter. That means you can go out stalking, you can use your dogs, or you can try to call the game. So I like more being an active hunter instead of being a passive hunter. So that's one reason. And obviously I was lucky. I started calling, I called my first roe deer early in the 90s when I was young. And I mean, everything you do when you are young, it gives you like a strong impression, experiences you have when you are young, they stick better with you than when you're more adult, if you see what I mean, because everything feels strong, So I was lucky. I had some good experiences calling my first roe deer when I was quite young, and obviously I became a fan. At that time I was never thinking I'm going to make my own calls. So I've tried all kinds of calls. Obviously, the Buttolo call that everyone knows, the black one you are pressing, everyone can use it. It's super easy, and it's also effective. It's a good call. But then, and you have all kinds of other calls, mouth calls, and you have electronic calls, and I've tried them all, and it's very, very interesting. And then so why did I start producing my own calls? It's also started with you guys. I started my web shop, and I was selling some American, Americans have so many different calls. So I was buying calls from America and selling them. And, so I was sort of thinking a lot about calls, and I like calling and all that. And then I thought, why not try to make your own call? When you're making your first call, you never know how this is going to go, if it's going to be a success, if it's going to be good, if people are going to buy it or whatever. So you need a bit of luck. You need to be lucky with your timing. You need to be lucky to make a good product and all. And we talked about it, but this is the very first call I made. And I think it's a little less than 10 years ago now that I made my first one. And I never knew what was going to happen or what the plan was. But then, you know, it actually became a pretty good call. It was effective on the foxes and people started using it. And then, you know, the ball just started rolling, if you can see. And yeah, actually today I've been visiting the factory that's making my calls. Because I'm coming with 2 new calls this summer. One is for the red stags. You know, when you roar into the sort of like a pipe for the red stags, and then another one for the roe deer, because I have this open reed calls. You know, these calls that's open that haven't reed, and both of my roe deer calls are open reed calls. And you know, some people can struggle with the open reed calls and want like a closed call that's very simple to use. So I've just made one like that. Actually, I'm the first. You are the first I'm telling it, because no one knows yet. Yeah, but it's coming. So it's like a closed roe deer call for contact sound. So you just sort of blow into the call and you will have the contact sound. So yeah, that's. No, I just like calling, and yeah, and as you said, I'm not saying that my products are the best ones, but obviously I would never release a call that I didn't think would work. But you know, there are so many calls on the market, and so many good calls, and I'm just happy people are using mine, and yeah, that people think they work. That's super. I'm happy about it.
I love the color. You cannot lose. That's the best part of your calls. It's the color.
It's a color.
Yeah, I'm sure someone would hate it. Like you know, Germans are very traditional. You know, they have their nice, you know, rifles with the wooden stocks and everything, and they have like some roe deer calls made from the roe deer antler or some wood and good looking. And obviously, I think they would hate an ugly call like this. But honestly, it was the main goal from the start, that if you lost this on the ground, you should be able to find it, because it's a small piece, and if you have it in your pocket and you're sitting somewhere or whatever and you lose it on the ground, you will actually find it. So that was the point from the beginning. Yeah, and actually many people have said it, you know, if you drop it on the ground and it's green or black, it's not so easy to find. Yeah.
You sometimes even do not notice that it has fallen on the ground. With this,
yeah.
That's why I like ikonisks, because of the orange.
Yeah. And another thing is that yeah, what was I gonna say? It was something about the color. Yeah, but anyways, yeah.
No, it's okay. So what about designs for your calls?
Yeah.
Is that all designs are Kristoffer Clausen designs, or you have a team for working on calls?
I have a friend. That's the factory I went to today. So I go to him. We sit in the office. We do some drawing on the paper, and he's obviously the expert. He knows the limitation, because he's the one who is making the molds. You know, the iron molds, because these ones are molded. You know, they are pressure molded, and he would know the limitation. So I can come to him and I said I want it to be this and this and this, and he said, yeah, that's fine, but we have to do like this, or we cannot do like this. So we work together. And he is sort of the expert making the machines for this, and I can come with the wishes. And obviously, in the end, what is most important is the sound. You know, I don't care so much how the calls looks. The very most important is to have the good sound. You know, so if you have a call that you want to imitate a dying hare, it must sound like a dying hare. It can't look you know, very fancy or whatever. So I would say it's not very advanced. If you came today and you wanted to start your own clothing company, obviously everyone knows how a pant is looking or jeans, and they know how a t-shirt and hoodies, but you would make your own with your small details. And that's also the same I do. I'm not trying to invent gunpowder again, because it's already been done, eh? Yeah.
Question from our colleague Kate Starna, who's also on Facebook and following you. Wanted me to ask you, do you have the musical hearing, or how how do you come up with the perfect sound?
Yeah, no, that's also, it's not very difficult. As I said, Americans and Germans and other people, they have been making calls for ages. Actually, in Norway, there is no other people making calls. But today, obviously, on YouTube, for example, you would have videos with the sound of a dying hare, and there would be lots of other calls on the market. So you would have to look at other products, other calls, and listen to the sounds and make it, yeah, it's and make your own twist to it. If you see what I mean. So it's the same again. I'm not trying to invent gunpowder again, because it's already done. And a dying hare is a dying hare. The buttolo call, that's for roe deers. I mean, roe deer calling, for example, it's not very advanced. It's making this, whistling sound. And honestly, it doesn't actually sound very much like a real roe deer, because I've heard them calling a lot, but it makes the roe deer react, and that's what you want, So yeah, I'm won't say I have a very musical ear or anything, but yeah.
Well, in Latvia, we also have been quite traditional due to the historical things, like hunters mostly go for shooting from high seats and driven hunts, which are like a divine thing.
Yeah.
Like being active as you hunt or start to use calls, that's quite new here. And we have been banging our heads on the wall trying to bring that idea to people that you can actually call the animal.
Yeah.
What is your advice to all those people who are looking at it like, oh, that's shit? Yeah. No, one advice I can say, because it's also how I learned it myself, and there would be, I don't have like a magic way that I do this and this and all the foxes will come, or I do this and this and all the roebucks will come. So I would say there is no magical formula that would bring all the animals come to you. So the number one thing is the more you are out, the more chances you will get. So there is like no shortcut. And then I've also learned that don't be afraid to use the call and to sort of like make the wrong sound, because if you're calling the roebucks, there is not like one very specific sound makes all the trick. It's more about being in the right place at the right time, and then the sound is not the most important, if you see what I mean. So there's not like, if you use my call this and this, then all the roebucks will come. It's more that you have to, the timing is very important, that you're in the right place at the right time and you have the right roebuck nearby that wants to come, so, and then it doesn't matter so much. So you cannot, in my experience, do too much wrong. So don't be afraid to try to use the call, and it's not, it's not so easy to do something wrong. People are very afraid to do that, So, and I would say also the same for the foxes, because I've called with so many people, and I have my way that I do it, and then I call with some other people, and I'm thinking, holy moly, what's going on now? I don't think anything will come. And then all of a sudden animals come like crazy. So that's sort of how I learned it, because in the beginning I wanted to tell my friends, no, please do this, it will work better. But then I figured, no, I'll let them do their thing and we'll see what happens. And it works the same, so that's kind of how I learned that it's not so important. You just have to be out there and you have to be lucky with your timing.
No.
That's like hunting and luck, they go hand in hand.
Together.
Yeah, very much.
What do you prefer more, like calling from the ground or calling from the high seat? It works both ways for me. I even like it from the high seat, because then I can see everything better.
Yeah.
What is your right formula?
My one is obviously calling from the ground, because we don't have the tradition of high seats here in Norway like you have in Europe. I would say, like, you just go to Sweden, you have much more high seats than in Norway. And in Germany, you have them all over the place, and the same in Poland and probably in your country. And I mean, high seats are great for safety, because you get up high, you shoot, down onto the ground. So obviously, if you have flat terrain, it's a very good thing. And calling from the high seats is a great idea. If the high seat is in the right place, and you have, good view to the side. What I like about being on the ground is that I feel more flexible. So especially when I'm calling now from a standing position using my tripod, I can sort of move 360 degrees around. So you're a bit more flexible. But also if the high seat is open, and so many high seats are open without the roof and everything, and then obviously you are also flexible, and so it all depends. But calling from a high seat is just as effective as from the ground, and obviously calling from the high seats, you take away more of the scent. So it's less likely that foxes and roe deers will smell you when they come. So, and you also get the advantage that you get higher. So I've called many foxes and many roebucks from the high seat, but mostly from the ground. And the main reason is that in Norway, we don't have too many high seats. Yeah.
You have mountains. We don't.
Yeah, we have a high terrain. Yeah, it's true.
It's the same. We have no mountains and high seats,
Yeah. And when you have flat open country and big fields and everything, being in a high seat is a great idea. Yeah, I would say so.
What's the craziest thing you have called? Like when they read that you can call a lynx and even a wolf with a call, people are like making fun of us, really.
Yeah. No, it's very true. It's very true. Yeah, I've called lynx, and that was actually, it wasn't so crazy, but it was an absolutely fantastic experience, calling that lynx. I was sitting in the forest. I was using my same calls that I use for foxes, imitating the dying hair. And I had been calling for maybe 30 minutes, and I saw some movement. I was about to, give up and move to the next place because I didn't think something would come. And then I saw some movement. I couldn't see an animal or anything. I just saw some movement. So I continued calling, and this lynx it comes like stalking. It's actually stalking, like you see when it's sneaking, because he was trying to get to that the dying rabbit. And I had the lynx maybe 6-7 meters away. I have it all on video. So it was like an absolute fantastic experience having a wild lynx that close. And obviously it was not the season for shooting lynx, so I could not shoot it. But then I got all this good video and I got the great experience. So I was actually thrilled. Yeah. And I've called bears, black bears, coming close, coyotes, wolf, as you said, in Africa, big male lions. I've called, actually big male lions that come running towards you. That's also pretty crazy. And I have friends. I have actually now in both in Norway and Sweden, I have quite many friends who have called lynx and also wolves, but more people have been calling lynx than wolf. And lynx, many places their main prey would also be hares, so they would react good to the dying hare. Yeah.
And you use your calls, yes? What kind of call do you use for lynx?
For lynx, I would just use the dying hare. So this one, or the number 4. This call, and 1 and 2. Those would be the ones I would use for lynx. Yeah.
And how you call lion?
With lion, you have to call, something. Actually, I've called lions with this one, and then I put on the extension to get. I actually had one whole pride of lion, like 7 lions that came, not running fast, but they came like trotting from far away and straight in when I use this call. When you put on the extension and you make that sound very loud, it can also sound like a dying, calf of some moose or deer or antelope. So that was actually pretty amazing. I also have all that on video. I was with 2 friends, one girl and one boy, and we called these lions, and it was absolutely crazy. So
unbelievable.
Šauj garām, jak tej būt?
What not to do when you're calling? Like what not to absolutely do when you're
yeah, what not to do? Yeah, well, obviously, making a lot of movement, I would say, is never clever, you know. So yeah, the opposite, I would say, try to stay as still as possible and not make a lot of movement, because that's obviously something animals see very quickly. All animals' eyes, they don't react so much. I mean, deer and foxes and stuff, they don't see this color, you know, they see black and white, so it doesn't matter so much. But being in silhouette on top of a hill, in silhouette towards the sky and making a lot of movement, I don't think that's going to be wise. So you want to hide a little bit. So yeah, that would be the biggest thing. Yeah.
So by the way, how many foxes you hunt in a season?
It depends. It depends, because some season I can do a lot, you know, and some season there would be more foxes. For example, this year it's actually not a good year here in Norway for foxes. There would be, and that is, it can be many factors, but I guess, you know, the population of mouse, you know, rodents, they would be the biggest, you know, factor affecting the fox population. So after years when you've had lots of mouse and lots of rodents, there would be more fox puppies surviving, you know. But this year is not so good in my area, so I see less foxes than some years before. But yeah, it depends. If I shoot 100 foxes in a year, it's a really good year. So I have friends, for example, in Ireland, a friend of mine, he shoots like between 300 and 400 foxes every year. So he has big numbers of foxes. So I mean, it's never the same. Some years I get to hunt lots of foxes and some years not so much. So yeah.
So what do you do with fur of foxes?
With the fur, with the skin? Yeah. Before when I was younger, and I kept actually all the nice fur, you know. But it's actually quite expensive to go to the tannery and to get them tanned. And now I lost all these fox skins in the fire, you know, in my house, because I had lots, and also the beaver fur. I had lots and lots of beaver skins. So now I don't keep so many, honestly, because it's sort of a limit. How many fox skins do you need, if you see what I mean? And it's a lot of work to take care of all the skins, and also quite a big cost if you're going to the tannery to tan them all. And there's selling the skins is not so, yeah, the prices for fur is not very much, not like in the old days. Yeah, they're absolutely, yeah, there you can see amazing, eh?
Yeah, that's 28 foxes.
28 foxes.
Yes.
It's an amazing, is it like a bed carpet that you can have on the bed?
That's a one.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Is it Latvian? Is it foxes from Latvia?
Yeah,
foxes from Latvia.
These were shot by my father, but he's shooting it in a baiting place from the second floor bathroom window.
Yeah.
And I have to skin them. So so these are all shot from the bathroom window.
But it's very cool. I mean, they also have a story, which is awesome. Yeah, I could have made, you know, stuff like that from the skins that was lost in the fire. And I mean, obviously that carpet also tells the story. It's very cool. Yeah.
It's a carpet made in Lithuania, actually.
Yeah. There is
because in Latvia there is not a good tannery, so we take it to Lithuania.
Yeah.
And now, because of COVID, the borders are closed. We send it by courier.
Yeah. No, we have the same in Norway. We have a company in Norway making those carpets, actually. A friend of mine doing that. So that's where I've also delivered all my skins for tanning. Actually, now that company is sending all the skins to Poland for the tanning.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to tan them here in Norway before, but now all the foxes and beavers, they are sent to Poland for tanning, because obviously they have better tanneries in Poland at the moment.
Yeah, it's here. I know that maybe in Norway or in other European countries, it's very expensive. Here, it's not that expensive still.
Yeah,
this one cost me altogether, I don't know, 500 euros, but because I get a good price anyway. So, but this is amazing. Yeah.
That's crazy. If I was making that same rug here in Norway, I guess it would be 4,000 euros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nu ko, lādē iekšā.
What is the number one game in Latvia? I mean, in Norway, it's moose and red stags sort of would be the two main. Before it was moose, but now we have more red deer than moose. But what would be the number one game in your country?
Actually, we have red stag as the number one, and red moose actually.
Yeah, we had number one was actually wild boar, but now we have African swine fever, and 2/3 of the population are gone during 6 years. And if you sometimes see a wild boar, it's like, yay, wild boar.
Is it starting to come back up, or is it still going down?
It has stabilized, but as soon as they start climbing back, it's like with COVID, they get it again.
Is it?
Yeah, there's the second wave and third waves, and it's like in Czech Republic, they made a fence because they caught it the very beginning. In Latvia, we didn't have that chance. It spread really fast, and it's now covered basically the whole territory, and it's sad. It's
that's very sad. Yeah.
Useless. But roe deer hunting, it's also very important.
Yes. We actually love every kind of hunting, you know, it depends on season what we have, yes. And now actually, well, driven hunter starts, we go into driven hunt, yes.
Yeah.
Is very good. Then starts fox hunting after and before roe time, yes, hunting.
Yeah.
Then beaver hunt. Then 1st of June we have roe deer hunt, roe books.
Yeah.
And all the year you have some best season for your very exciting hunting.
No, go ahead.
No, in our country, from April, like the end of April until July or the beginning of August, we don't have anything much to hunt, because then most of the seasons are closed. We don't have wild boars, you know, or very few, so there's sort of not many people can hunt wild boars in the summer. So actually all the way from the end of April until beginning of August, we don't do much hunting in Norway at all. We have some seal hunting though on the coast. We do that in the summer, but
we never have a single day during a year that we cannot hunt here. We can hunt every single day of the year. It just depends.
That's quite cool. We don't have that in Norway. I mean, first of all, by law, we cannot hunt during Christmas and Easter. It's those days are 100% protected. You're actually not allowed to put out a mouse trap. During the Christmas, you cannot trap mouse. You know, it's crazy. It's some old thing that they have just decided that in the Christmas and the Easter there is absolutely no hunting. And I mean, okay, so it's only 3 days during the Easter and 1 full week in the Christmas. So I guess we still can survive without hunting for those days. But many hunters are actually a bit sad, because obviously in the Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, many people have their holidays and the days off. So many would have liked to do some hunting, but then, we cannot do it. So I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
Yeah. So do you have some traditions in hunting, or some ancient traditions or something like that?
Yeah, it would be our reindeer hunting, because that's sort of it's the only place in Europe where you can hunt reindeer. So walking in the mountains with your backpack, because in the mountains of Norway it's very strict we cannot, you know, do any motorized, we cannot drive with the quad bike or anything. So either you have to walk or you have to use horses. And that would be sort of the most traditional Norwegian hunting, putting your backpack, carrying the gun, walking far into the mountains, maybe shooting a reindeer, and actually have to carry everything back, you know. So that would be sort of the very basic Norwegian tradition. And then it would be hunting moose with dogs, for example. That's sort of a tradition, or, you know, the hare with the dog and stuff, but not, you know, the Europeans and you guys, and you have the driven hunt for the wild boar and for everything, which is very much tradition. So I would say hunting is more traditional in like Europe and Poland and probably Latvia than in Norway. Hunting has just been for every farmers and everything. You just go out into the woods and you shoot something that you eat, and sort of, yeah, not very, you know, strong traditions. Yeah,
like we have these traditions, you put the last bite in the mouth
yeah.
animal, but like during Soviet times it was completely irrelevant. Nobody cared about the traditions, so we are bringing back some things, but mostly it's German. We don't have our own, we have our own tradition. When a hunting dog shits, you have to raise your hat.
Okay.
For good luck, and it works everywhere in the world. It's proven. You have to try. When you go hunting and your dog shits, just raise your hat.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Just like owner, you know, for the dog. He's doing, you know.
Yeah.
Shits down and he becomes stronger and, you know, a little bit lighter, more fast. You know?
Yeah.
For driven hunt.
For driven hunt, yeah. No, so we don't do anything. We're probably more like the Russians, you know. It was more about going into the woods, getting some meat and dragging it back home, and you didn't pay too much attention to the sort of the different traditions, like the last bite, and, you know, the Germans are making the different song, or the horn blowing for each animal. I think it's pretty cool though when you go on the driven hunt in Germany and they do all these sort of traditions. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
it gives like a bit of a different atmosphere. Not just killing for the meat, but it gives like a special, I don't know, feeling about it.
Yeah.
Ultimate respect. I don't know.
No, I like it. Yeah.
What's the game animal you would like still to shoot or to hunt?
I mean, I just I don't have like a special animal or a special game that I'm very keen on shooting. Just more of what I like, if you see what I mean. I'd like to hunt more foxes, more roebucks, more red stags, more moose. Just so I'm not. I've never been like I pursue this and this. I want to shoot this animal or this animal. It's it's more about just experiencing hunting and different hunting and the same hunting. Yeah.
You've eaten fox?
Yeah, I've eaten fox, badger. I've eaten badger. You know, the pine marten. I've eaten all of those, and badger is actually very good. Badger meat can be fantastic. Pine marten was not too bad. It was, I guess it depends on what he's been eating and what time of year, because pine martens, they love sweet stuff, so they eat a lot of berries and fruits and stuff if they have access, and that would affect the meat. Foxes is not so. I mean, obviously, if you shoot a young fox in the fall, because they also eat a lot of berries, but if you eat an adult fox in the winter when they eat mostly, it's not so nice. But it also depends on how you cook it. But it's not my favorite food, I can say that. Yeah.
Like the fox, you said on the video that it tasted just the way it smelled.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Yeah, no, it was, you know, the fox was just boiled in water. I had no spices, no nothing. And the bad thing, it had also been hanging for a bit too long. So it wasn't, it wasn't very good. It was smelling very bad and it tasted very bad. So, but I've also eaten a young fox that you take fresh. And it's not so bad. So I mean, honestly, if you made a stew from a young fox and you had like the sauce and everything, the meat can actually be good, but not an old fox that's been hanging for too long. That's not the best.
You were desperate or what?
No. I just wanted to try it. You know, we have this old hero here in Norway. I don't know if you heard about Helge Ingstad. He's like a famous adventurer that we had in Norway. In the 1930s, he moved to Canada and he lived with the Indians and the Eskimos and the Inuits for 3 years. You know, like a proper, you know, the trapper for real, you know, back then in the 1930s with no modern, not like a snowmobile, everything was with the dog sled and skis and everything. So he actually a couple of times he had to eat fox to survive, you know, and he's been writing books and everything, and he also said that eating foxes wasn't too good. So it was just, I've been reading his books and I wanted to try, can it be that bad? So it was not about, you know, starving or anything. I had red deer meat hanging there, but I wanted to try. So yeah, it's not so good. We have better meat. Yeah.
What is your favorite game meat?
Oh, there is. I mean, red stag and red deer is fantastic. I also like moose meat. I also almost every African antelope I've eaten is absolutely fantastic. I've never ever eaten like an antelope or buffalo or anything in Africa that's not been good. So for some reason, the African game is absolutely fantastic. Sika deer and fallow deer is amazing. I don't know, you don't have Sika deer in your country, maybe?
A few, if they have.
Yeah.
That's invasive dishes.
Yeah. No, so there is so much good meat. I mean, I like capercaillie and black grouse, but it's a strong wild taste. So some people like it and some don't, you know. So, but in general, all kinds of deer and antelope is great meat. I mean, yeah, wild boar too.
I love capercaillie. I brought some back from Sweden. We cooked it during the podcast. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing taste.
But it's also a big difference if you shoot an old capercaillie in the winter when they're eating only pine needles, or if you're shooting a young one in the fall when they're only eating berries. It's much more mild taste, you know. So it's a great variation, actually. Okay,
one of the last questions. How do you see hunting in the modern world? The tough question.
Yeah. No, we have definitely bigger challenges now than we had only 10 years back, you know, because what's not so good for us hunters is that you know, more and more people live in cities. Obviously, more than half of the world population, I think even much more, maybe up to 70% of the world population live in cities, or, you know, like in rural areas, or not on the countryside. So that means so many people, they grow up and they have absolutely no connection to nature or animals or hunting or whatever, which is bad, because it's hard for them to understand, you know, what's going on. And obviously for them, just imagining people killing an animal is very bad, you know, it's brutal. So no, there will be big challenges. And also I know there has been lots of discussion. What can we hunters do? What can we do different? What can we do for all of the other people that don't hunt to accept what we are doing? And it's not easy, for sure. So there has been discussions now. Should we stop posting, you know, pictures on on social media of ourselves with dead animals, trophy photos, or what you call them. I mean, I do it a lot. You know, if you go to my Facebook or my Instagram, it's almost only pictures of me or other people with dead animals. And obviously to an anti-hunter, it must look terrible. So should we stop doing it? I mean, I know people in the industry, they are discussing that actually we should do it, you know, but I'm not sure if that's the right way to do. But then they would argument, you know, that, okay, every bad episode in the world now against the hunters, they almost all the time start with someone posting a photo of a dead animal or something. So, I mean, it's not easy. I don't have the answer to this. I think it's going to be a challenge. So what's right and what's wrong, I'm not sure. But I mean, we are getting more and more anti-hunters, and more and more of them, they speak out loud, and, you know, they are very visible. And yeah, so the future of the hunting, I'm not sure, actually. It's it's different from country to country. And yeah.
No, it's a tough world, because one of their arguments is that you don't need hunting to survive.
Yeah.
Basically, for me, it's all about survival. I can't be happy if I don't do it, because it's the way of life, the way I see the world, the way I eat, basically, because I don't like factory produced meat, for example.
Yeah.
So I think that is one of the most important things, because it makes me happy.
Yeah. And also, it's the most natural thing we can do. You know, we hunters, we know that killing animals, you know, we know wolves, lynx, foxes, falcons, and all kinds of killing is what it's about. You know, killing and eating other animals. Even the small birds that we like, they kill the insects. And I mean, it's the way of nature, and we must not forget that we humans are also part of nature. That's the problem, that most of the population in the world now, they grow up in a city with the tar roads and concrete, and that's all they know. They never see a wild animal or almost nothing, and for them it's absolutely not a natural thing being part of nature, but we still are. Without the nature, humans can absolutely not survive. And being a part of nature, killing for survival is also a part of being a human. I mean, it's all what we humans do. That's what we cannot forget. So imagine where there was a city before, there used to be wilderness, you know, trees, rivers, forest, whatever. But now there is a city with concrete, and all the peoples that think we humans are the worst, you know, people on the planet. What was there before they built that city, you know? And so we humans, we need space. You know, it's all what we do, actually. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's very difficult.
I think that hunting will survive in one form or another, because there are people who care about it, but yeah, we have to be ready to adapt to changes. That is the fact that we have to live with.
Yeah, and how is it in Latvia? I mean, like the anti-hunters, is it bad in Latvia or not so bad?
Compared to the UK or compared to Netherlands, for example, we basically have no problem, except for some people. Now they are attacking lynx hunting. They have collected 11,000 votes against lynx hunting, and they have to go to the parliament to discuss it. Yeah. So basically we have the signs. We have the signs proving that actually hunting does not bring the population down. But it's facts against emotions, and there are no arguments against emotions. That's the biggest problem.
How many lynx do you shoot in a normal year in Latvia?
This year it's 80. 0, 8. It was
Same like Norway. We have exactly the same. We shoot, I think our quota was around 80 something, 83 or 85 or something. And normally we shoot maybe 70 of those or something. We never shoot like the full, but yeah, so that means the population should be pretty much the same. So that means in Norway, we will have between 300 and 400 lynx, and then we can shoot, maybe 85. Yeah.
We have more because we can shoot 10%, which means that we have I think officially it's 800. I think we have more.
Yeah. Okay. So if you officially have 800, I mean, for sure you will have more because it's impossible to count them, and that's also okay. So then you actually have a strong population of lynx.
Nu ko, pārlādējam.
Tu klausies Šauj garām.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Good. Perfect.
So what does it mean?
You listen to podcast called Shoot to Miss because
yeah. That's cool.
When you go hunting, we tell you not to break a leg, but
shoot to miss.
Go and miss it.
Go and miss it.
Shoot and miss it. It's like a part of tradition,
Yeah, it's the same in Norway. We say skittjakt. It means must the hunting go bad? If you see what I mean.
Yeah, exactly the same idea.
Yeah, cool. Okay. No, it was nice talking to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot one question from my dad, if I may. He was watching one of your movies. You're hunting moose, and then when you opened the animal and took out the inner parts, he noticed that you threw away the liver. He's like, they are not eating liver there? What's the story about that?
Some problem or something?
Yeah, no, we don't. Actually, most Norwegian hunters, we don't have, this is about traditions again. We don't have traditions of eating liver very much. We do make, the liver paste. The liver pate, but if we use the liver, it's only from the first year, like the calves, not from the adult animals. I know in many places, if I go to Poland, for example, they take always the liver from the adult animals, mostly for the dogs. Because it's great dog food. So I mean, obviously, if you have dogs, it's great for that. But yeah, so we don't have that traditions. If I hunt in Africa, for example, they always take the liver from all the animals. So they have a big. They have big traditions for eating all the internal organs, anyways. But yeah, so that I would say is actually sort of like a bad tradition in Norway that we should learn. Yeah, because most of us actually throw away the liver. What we keep is almost only the heart, from the animals. Yeah. So it's true.
Okay, I'll tell my dad. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not, we don't have traditions for it, but my mother, she makes homemade liver pate, and she usually mixes from wild animals and pig, and also my sister, when I was in Africa now, she also makes the homemade liver pate, and she makes it from the wild animal, and 50%, and also from the pig. So, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Interesting talking to you guys. I'm happy we did this talk, and yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
Maybe last words for Latvian hunters, something like that.
I don't know. I think we've covered most of it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. I was thinking to arrange this interview for a very long time, but I made him after all. So this is really very good that you had time for us, and I hope we can figure something out in the future.
Yeah, sure. And also, if you talk to Kate, pass on the greetings. I've never spoken to her or anything, but I understand she's sort of like part of what you're doing. So pass on the greetings, and and we keep in touch.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a skittjakt.
Yeah, thank you. The same. Skittjakt. Yeah.
Ņemamies nost. Masts beidzies.